Birds with brilliant feathers shrieked in the canopy. Monkeys leapt from branch to branch, and unseen creatures slithered through the undergrowth. But deep within this vast green world, where sunlight barely reached the jungle floor, something else moved. Something ancient, silent, and deadly. 12-year-old Asha didn't belong here. Or so it would seem to anyone who saw her weaving her way barefoot through the tangle of roots and vines. She was small for her age, her skin sun-kissed from days spent under the open sky, her black braids swaying with each step, but her eyes, wide, alert, and unflinching, held the soul of someone older, much older. The jungle was her friend. Her mother, gone 3 years now, had taught her its language. "The forest speaks," she used to say. "You just have to listen." Asha listened now. She paused beside a massive strangler fig, laying her palm against its bark. The wind whispered something strange, not the rustling of monkeys or the cry of birds. Something was wrong. Then she heard it, a desperate, gurgling trumpet. An elephant, but not just any cry. A baby. Asha's heart seized. She knew that sound. She had followed the same tiny footprints for over an hour, thinking it was just a wandering calf strayed from its herd. But now, the scream pierced the air again. This time, there was something else layered within it. Terror. She ran, feet splashing through mud, branches clawing her arms, breath catching in her throat. She darted through the thick foliage, each cry pulling her like a magnet. Then, as she broke through a curtain of vines, she stopped dead. In the clearing ahead, the scene tore at her chest. A baby elephant, no more than a few months old, was thrashing wildly, its legs flailing, its trunk flung upward in agony. Wrapping its thick, scaly body around the calf's belly was a massive green anaconda, at least 20 feet long. Its coils were tightening, crushing the life out of the helpless creature. Asha's stomach turned. The snake's dead eyes met hers for a second, unblinking. It didn't care. She was no threat. But Asha didn't freeze. She grabbed a rock, sprinted forward, screamed. She hurled the rock with all her might, hitting the anaconda just behind its head. It hissed and flexed, muscles rippling. The calf let out another desperate wail. Asha looked around. A fallen branch. She seized it like a spear and charged again, striking the snake's back. It began to uncoil, turning toward her. "No!" she shouted. "Leave him alone." The anaconda lunged. Asha barely dodged a bite, tumbling sideways into the mud. She scrambled back, heart racing. The snake turned again toward the baby, trying to finish the job. But the delay had been enough. From the far side of the clearing, crashing to the undergrowth, came a thunderous sound. An adult elephant. Massive, ears flared, trunk raised high. The mother, with a deafening trumpet. She charged into clearing. The anaconda released the baby just in time to slither away, vanishing into the jungle like smoke. Asha stared, breathless, her chest heaving. The mother elephant towered above her calf, using her trunk to nudge him, check him. The calf whimpered, weak but alive. Then, to Asha's amazement, the mother turned to her. They locked eyes. The jungle went quiet. There was no fear in those dark, intelligent eyes, only recognition. A silent thank you. Asha lowered her makeshift spear, trembling. "I'm sorry I didn't come sooner," she whispered. The elephant stood with her for a long time. And then, slowly, they walked away, back into the jungle's embrace. That night, Asha sat by a small fire outside the forest hut she shared with her grandfather. He was a wiry, sharp-eyed man who had once been a forest ranger. People in the nearby village called him the firekeeper because he carried stories like embers, passing them down like torches. He listened quietly as Asha told him what had happened. When she finished, he said only one thing: "You didn't run." Asha shook her head. "I couldn't." He nodded slowly. "Then you are truly your mother's daughter." They sat in silence for a while. The stars above blinked softly. Then he said, "The jungle remembers kindness. That calf will never forget you." Asha wondered if that could be true. She thought of the mother's eyes, of the silent understanding between them, a bond formed without words. The jungle was different after that day. Asha walked with a new awareness. Animals she used to glimpse from afar now lingered longer. Parrots squawked greetings. A tapir once followed her for nearly a mile before vanishing. She searched the forest often, looking for signs of calf. She named him Chotu, which meant little one. She found his tracks sometimes, tiny round prints alongside larger ones, but she never got too close again, until the storm. It rolled in one evening, sudden and fierce. Trees bent in the wind, lightning forked the sky, and thunder shook the earth. Asha and her grandfather barely got the fire covered in time. The next morning, everything was soaked, the river swollen. Asha set off on her usual walk, cautious. Halfway to the ridge, she heard it, a low, panic rumble. She followed the sound and gasped. Chotu. He was stuck. A fallen tree had collapsed during the storm, pinning his back leg. His mother was nearby, panicking, trying to lift it with her trunk, but it was too heavy. The calf was bleeding, crying. Asha didn't hesitate. She ran back to the hut. Grandfather, the baby, he's trapped. Without a word, the old man grabbed a rope and his axe. Together, they returned. The mother elephant trumpeted an alarm but didn't charge. She remembered. Asha and her grandfather worked fast, circling wide to avoid panic. He began chopping at the log. Asha tied the rope to one end and wrapped it around a sturdy tree. "Pull when I say," the old man shouted. The calf cried out again. Asha threw her weight against the rope. So did her grandfather. The log groaned, shifted. With one last yank, it rolled off. The baby lurched up, limping but free. The mother rushed in, wrapping her trunk around him. Asha collapsed into the mud, exhausted but smiling. The jungle watched in silence. Then, with a deep trumpet, the mother turned to them again. This time, she reached her trunk out toward Asha. The girl stepped forward, heart pounding. The trunk brushed her cheek gently, like a blessing. Then the elephants turned and disappeared into the trees. A month later, the village held its annual Festival of the Wild, a celebration of the forest bounty. This year, Asha stood before the elders and told her story, not just of the rescue, but of the bond, of fear turned into trust. When she finished, no one clapped. Instead, the crowd rose and bowed. She had become something more than a child, a guardian. They called her Jungli Beti, the jungle's daughter. Years passed. Asha grew. She became a ranger like her grandfather once was, patrolling the jungle with wisdom beyond her years. She knew every path, every sound. And one morning, as the mist rose off the forest floor, she saw them again, a herd of elephants. And at its center, now nearly grown, was Chotu. He saw her too, and though he was surrounded by his kind, he stepped forward, close enough that their eyes met again. Just for a second, then he turned and rejoined his herd, and vanished into the green. But Asha stood still, her heart full, because the jungle remembers, and so do its children,